next guest this morning represents the agency leading Nigeria's fight against drug abuse and trafficking. In recent days, the NDLEA operatives have arrested a drug supplier linked to bandits in Niger State. They've uncovered secret codeine syrup factory in Abia, seized over 1,000 kilograms of skunk in Ondo, and intercepted opioids bound for the US, Canada, and Sweden. He is the Director of Media and Advocacy at the NDLEA. Mr. Femi Babafemi, good morning, and thank you for coming out today.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yes, it's always, when we talk about the fight against drug abuse, drug trafficking, sometimes people may not actually understand the gravity of some of these things. But I see here some of the arrests that the NDLEA has made. Talk to us about this Mohammed Sani alias Gamboli, who is said to be a suspected major drug supplier to bandits, who was arrested in Shiroro, Niger State. You said it was after him being on the run for weeks.
Yes, actually, because our operations are 100% intelligence-led, meaning that before we go for an individual, we would have gathered intelligence about such persons. And in the case of the suspect in question, there was intelligence as to his activities and his link to the criminal elements in the forest of that locality. And then our men went for him. That was, I think, November 20th in Kuta. That's the headquarters of Shiroro local government. But unfortunately, he escaped the arrest, but we were able to get almost 500 kilograms of skunk in his house. And then after that, he went into hiding, but then we kept the pressure, just going after him, trying to gather intelligence. And eventually, last week, our operatives got intelligence that he was actually hibernating in one of his drug joints in the community, but a different part of the community. So, and they got there. I mean, they went there in numbers, in our numbers, and then they were able to get him. So, at the moment, he's in custody, and that's one of the things we try to do. Because there is no need denying the fact that there is a strong nexus between the problem of drugs and crime. So, and we're trying to, by taking him out of circulation, meaning that we've been able to cut the supply to the criminal elements, because some of these things they do, they are born out of, they are done out of altered minds, not people acting on their normal senses. And so that's why we try as much as possible, wherever we find these illicit drugs, mop them out of circulation, so as to, if we're able to cut the supply completely, and then we'll probably have solved like 50% of some of these security challenges. And that's why we're doing everything to ensure that we cut access and availability of these illicit substances.
I know that, in the past, NDLEA always said that we were a transit country. But today, it appears that has changed, hasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. We are still transit, but then anywhere in the world where where a place is regarded as transit, eventually there will be little drops. And in our own case, yes, we have little drops, but then we also produce some of these things here. I'm telling you,
we produce
some of these illicit substances. Yeah, for instance, cannabis, which is the most commonly abused. Like if you go back to the 2018 statistics, drug use survey statistics, will discover that out of 14.3 million Nigerians said to have abused illicit substances the previous year, 10.6 million of them alone abused cannabis. And if you see, if you know cannabis is now, cannabis before in years past used to be something grown in a part of Southwest and South-South. But now it's all over the country. It's now grown all over the country, virtually in every state of Nigeria.
Deliberately or accidentally?
No, it's deliberately because of the economic benefits, and then...
it means there are buyers.
Definitely. Because it's the most commonly abused, like it's the cheapest, what people can afford, and then because of the, like I said, the economic benefits of it, so that's why people, but then we are responding to that, not only going deep into the forest, like if you see, I think 2 weeks ago, we went into the forest in Ekiti and Ondo, were able to destroy them in hundreds of thousands, But beyond that, again, we're also looking beyond the enforcement, the law enforcement. We're also bringing in an initiative which has been globally acclaimed, which has been globally acknowledged as something that will be useful. That is the alternative development, providing alternatives to these individuals, to these people who are growing this cannabis. We're working with a lot of stakeholders, both local and international partners.
What's the alternative?
The alternative development project is to, we identify the growers. That's the growers of cannabis, or people producing these illicit drugs, and then we're able to provide for them alternative crops that they can grow rather than growing cannabis.
Like what, rice and beans?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of other crops. We have quite a lot of, on our table on that. We're working with the IITA in Ibadan. We're working with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. We're also working with the UNODC and other international partners.
Will they make as much money as they would have with this one?
Definitely, even though it may not. You see, cannabis, they harvest cannabis twice a year. But we're looking at something, even if they are not going to make as much as they make from cannabis, at least they are secure. They know that they are doing something legitimate, not something illegal, not something that could put them into prison or to jail. There was one of such people because we had to engage with them. And in fact, I know that in the early part of next year, we will be launching the project in Ondo State. So, and in our preliminary plans, we had the Chairman Chief Executive of NDLEA, Jeremiah, had an engagement with some of these people. He invited them, and they came with the assurance that nobody will be arrested. They came to actually have an engagement, and one of them said something that is very, very key. He said, yes, what they are doing, they themselves are not comfortable because some of their kids cannot go to school because they are on the run. They are living in the forest where they are growing these things. They cannot come to town because they are afraid that NDLEA will arrest them. And so, you see, if they have something legitimate, then they can be free to come into town to live as normal human beings. Their kids can also associate with other members of the public and go to school.
I think that program is going to prove controversial, but perhaps not as controversial as the statement of the late governor. And it's interesting that it is in Ondo State that you had this conversation where Aketi, the late governor of Ondo State, had made a case that cannabis should be legalized. That there are many other benefits from cannabis apart from the people who are abusing. But I don't want to go into that controversy, because that controversy is still out there.
I will also tell you something. Yeah. Let me also tell you something. The agency has never, we have always made our position very clear. I'm sure you are trying to refer to the cannabis oil, the cannabinoids, we're actually working with them. And in fact, today, as I live here, I'm going into that program at the headquarters of the agency, where the agency actually commissioned the Nigerian Academy of Science to conduct a research on the validity of the claims, yes, on that, and I'm sure they are almost done with that, and they are making a submission to the chairman of the agency today. So on that, and then we have also said in the course of their research, because of their work, that we are not averse to Nigeria exporting this. Do you understand? This cannabis, because the strongest of the arguments has always been we can make money from it. We have never said we are averse to this. We can create a zone where this can be developed, grown, and exported. But to say that we will use it here, when you talk of 10.6 million people abusing this particular substance alone, 10.6 million, that's more than the population of 2, 3, 4 African countries combined, and even some European countries.
All right, let me take you up on the issue of the festive season, because you also noticed that you have been raiding some clubs in Lagos, and also warning young people and partygoers against engaging in drug parties.
Yes.
I do not know how the NDLEA intends to mount a campaign or mount surveillance in this particular season, because here Nigeria is trying to welcome and open up an economy, a seasonal economy around Dirty December. At the same time, it does appear that we're going to be doing it under surveillance. Can you help us reconcile?
Yeah, now we did something in Lagos recently. That was the raid at a club.
Yeah.
And that has really opened a lot of conversations, quite a lot of partnerships. And I know that today, our Lagos command will be meeting with club owners in Lagos. That's very key. That's very important. And we also have understanding with a number of them. We've printed. They will be displaying boards, notice boards in their clubs, warning people abuse of drugs is not allowed in this premises. Sale or abuse of illicit substances is not allowed in this premises. You see, one is the sensitization, the awareness creation. And we're doing that. We're engaging with all the stakeholders to sensitize them, to let them know that this is not just about, we just talked about the nexus between drug abuse and security challenges. And so we need to let them know that this is not just about your fun, but this also has to do with their own safety and the safety of others. So we are working, apart from that, we're also working with the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism. I think our Lagos Command is also having that partnership, that relationship with them, so that we can, on the one hand, create awareness around these hubs, and then on the other hand, we also have the law enforcement. That is where people decide to go out of line, then we with the big stick. So all of those things we're doing first is to sensitize them, to let them know, and then for people to be well guided. And on the other hand, deploy the law, the enforcement of the law.
Maybe Dirty December will become Clean December.
Well, people can still have fun without taking drugs, I'm sure. Right,
about
that. I want to believe, yes, that they can. I intend to.
And without taking drugs. You can have your fun without taking drugs.
All right, thank you for coming on, and we wish you all the best. So, there you go. Don't do drugs, because, there's several bad scenarios that several people have seen on this matters. People always remind us a living dog is better than a dead lion. Well, thank you for watching the show today. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Osor. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching. On Top of the Hour is Business Morning. I'm Maokwe Ogunyusu.